And we're live. Welcome to another episode of Watch Talk with the Punters. My co-host is the Iron Man of Watch YouTube channels, Thomas Burnett.
Welcome, everyone.
And we have a guest, i.e. The Fugitive, joining us today.
Wow. I'm keeping a low profile at the moment.
And our very special guest is Ben from the Wonder of Watches channel, all the way from the Republic of Ireland. Welcome.
Thanks very much. Absolute pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone.
Let me welcome all of you guys that are in the chat. Alejandro from Spain, who was our guest the other week. Welcome. Hans Knees and Toes. Good to see you, my friend. Decon, hello. Rajiv Marajay, good to see you, my friend. Mason One, welcome, my friend. Tin Queenan, James Arthur, a big hello to you, sir. Hope all is well. Underachieving Watch Collector. But the Stud was in there. I saw EPRFA. Yeah. Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, everyone. EPRFA, Bud. Yep. Nice one.
73 MAF. Dan T. All our friends. Paul M. Who was he was first today. So
Rob
welcome,
Filmer
everybody.
Just dropped in there.
Oh, welcome. And Ken Spear from Pittsburgh.
Ken Spear from Pittsburgh checking in.
Welcome.
Good
welcome.
To see you, Ken.
Yep. I popped the link in the chat, guys. So if you want to join us, feel free. Detroit Spartan, what's up, man? Good to see you. Maynard Joseph. Tennessee Mike, hello. Tennessee Mike digging that tutor he got. Very, very, very cool. Congrats. Wear it in good health. So welcome, everybody. And if something is a bit under the weather this week, so he won't be joining us. And hopefully we'll have Neo joining us at some point. But Thomas and I will do our NS something impersonation and work our way through the news.
Hopefully we'll try our best, yeah. And hopefully we can try and substitute ourselves for NS. No, we won't achieve his status at all, but we'll try our best. We'll try our best.
Yeah, there's nobody that can replace him. We're just poor imitations, but we'll do our best.
Absolutely.
So the first big bit of news was this week the merger or the acquisition by Hodinkee, Ben Clymer and his sweaters, of Crown & Caliber, the Atlanta-based pre-owned watch seller.
Yeah, not content with doing watch collaborations with brands and launching their own insurance partnership, they're following a recent takeover themselves. Hodinkee have now brought out Crown & Caliber, haven't they?
So, that's correct.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, they said Ben Clymer was saying he's friends with the owner of Crown & Caliber and has been discussing it for 6 years or so, and finally taken the plunge. And
so now they've joined, a whole cast of characters that are entering into the pre-owned watch selling business.
Yeah, they were saying that they're confident that they could, with Crown & Caliber's specialities, they could get the watches. You could sell the watches to them, and exchange your watches, sell them to them, and Crown & Caliber, of course, can take care of looking after that and servicing the watches and
right,
putting them on their website. And they thought it made sense basically to buy out a pre-existing retailer rather than starting up their own their own shop, basically. I think.
Yeah,
Which it makes sense. Makes sense, really, doesn't it?
It does. But unfortunately, it destroys the last vestige of journalistic integrity, in my opinion. My opinion only.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
That Hodinkee had. They're obvious.
I think that went with the buyout of Hodinkee anyway. To be honest with you, I think they became such a huge, gigantic monstrosity that they left away the sort of integrity of their business as a journalistic empire when they started venturing into insurance and things like that. I think.
Since when did Khaki have integrity?
Good point. Junior Johnson, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well. Good to see you. 90 knots. Good to see you. Mason One had a good point. Are they trying to make themselves into Watchbox 2.0? Yeah, that seems to be the flavor of the day. Richemont owns Watchfinder.
Yeah, they said in this article that they were talking about the how Chrono 24 are the market leaders, and Watchbox also the market leaders, and then as you just mentioned there, I forgot who it was you mentioned just then.
Watchfinder.
Watchfinder, yes, Watchfinder have been bought out by Richemont, so it seems that people are collaborating all left, right, and centre these days, doesn't it? And
yeah,
I mean, it's quite good for the watch industry, I suppose, that lots of different companies come together and start to work together. I mean, it's not such a bad thing, I don't think.
No, and it's fairly, it was inevitable that something like this would happen. And as long as you keep in the back of your mind that, if they're featuring something, there's a reason behind it that they're trying to push it.
You'll get screwed.
What do you think about it, Ben? Have you any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think Blue Shirt has absolutely nailed it. It's people are just a bit suspicious of where does the editorial side end and the sales side begin. I think they've made some faux pas in the last year as well. The travel clock obviously being number one there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and I believe when it was released as well and people started taking photographs of the finishing, that even the finishing left an awful lot to be desired. I thought G-Shock, the John Mayer G-Shock collaboration as well, like if you watch Talking Watches with John Mayer, his collection is just unbelievable. Like the rarest of Rolex. He's big into IWC, and next thing they release a G-Shock in his name. It just didn't it didn't make any sense to me. And they put a €200 sticker price on it when this G-Shock could be bought for 50 quid. So I mean, if you want, look, I tell you, I kind of jumped the shark a bit this year and it's in my collection too, so I can't say too much. You're
really?
Yeah, you're going to see the Timex Hodinkee collab. But in my defense, I will say that that's one of the Timex Q models, and they didn't increase the price by slapping the Hodinkee name on the dial. But yeah, Blue Shirt has nailed it. Like, where's their editorial integrity now?
Yeah, I think that. What was that, Fugitive?
Is that guy going to come?
He's more than welcome. I just posted the chat, and I was just about to go welcome him. A longtime friend of the channel, along with James Arthur, is ID Guy. Welcome, ID Guy.
Yeah, welcome, my friend.
He's enjoying a weekend off in between his marathon 4+ hour live streams that we all enjoy. We lost the Fugitive.
Lost the Fugitive.
Hopefully he'll come back.
As you do with fugitives.
I will post the link again. He has it anyway. Let's move on to the next story. And that is something that I'm very excited about. The Longines Aviation Big Eye Titanium with a blue dial. Now, anybody that knows me and watches the channel knows that I am a sucker for a blue dial. But this is a cool watch and a bargain for a column wheel chronograph that I think has gotten even better. I mean, look at that. It is absolutely stunning.
Longines have been doing all the right things of late recently, haven't they? And recent remakes of notably in the Heritage line, and we saw the Silvaro that we featured last week, and the Heritage Classic sector dials, the Heritage Military, and the the Classic Tuxedo chronograph. They're all knocking it out of the park with so many different iterations of watches, Longines. I think they're brilliant. And this column wheel chronograph movement with the silicon hairspring that they've got does cost more than the steel version, but it does
considerably more as well.
Yeah, it's still one of the best in its segment. It's a beautiful watch if we look at it. It's got this black subdials against a blue dial, but it's gorgeous blue dial in titanium. It's using a caliber L688, which is a heavily modified Valjoux 7750 made by the ETA for Longines, and it's got faux patina on the hands and indices, which give it a contemporary look, which I really like, to be honest with you.
It is a gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous watch.
Yeah,
an absolute stunner. I love the original Big Eye.
Yep.
I think for anybody who's moving from affordable into the next tier, the original Longines Big Eye is just bang on the money. But
isn't it just better?
Yeah.
I mean, for on the gray market, the regular Big Eye could be had for about $1,700-$1,800, and you're getting yourself a well-built column wheel chronograph. It's just a terrific bargain, and I can't say it enough. I think they hit it out of the park with this one, bringing it in titanium, and I mean, look at that. It's just.
I mean, it's going for 3,200 Swiss francs. This is going for.
It's expensive.
So it is quite expensive, and but it's as you said, it's a beautiful watch. Smoke blue dial with titanium case and 41 millimeters across. It's by a 14.5 thick, 54 hours power reserve. It's a cracking watch.
It is.
I love that faux patina look on the hands and indices. It looks lovely.
It's a noisy bugger, that Valjoux 7750, isn't it? I picked up a Junghans chronoscope, and it has the 7750 in it, and you can feel it on the wrist, but it rotates at quite a quick pace as well. So any kind of movement at all, you can hear this whizzing on your wrist.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great movement though.
Oh yeah, it's a stalwart movement. It's been in so many watches, hasn't it?
It has, and it is a little bit of a, you can feel you got the Valjoux wobble, that you can feel it.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's it's a movement that anybody can work on. Every single watchmaker gets trained on how to fix a 7750. They're reliable, and just like Thomas was saying, Longines has continued to do the right thing. I want to welcome Flippin' Zippo. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, hi Zippo. Hi, you well, my friend?
Please click on the link, my friend.
Young hands.
So, what do you think of this watch, Fugitive?
I don't think he can't like it, to be honest with you. I think he loves it.
I'd say that dial, if you saw it in hand, is absolutely amazing.
I think you're right, Ben.
With normal run.
What was that?
stick with the normal one.
Really?
All right, so we've got to vote for the
interesting.
regular one.
I think the regular one's cheaper, isn't it? But this blue, I think you're a Blue Dial fan, aren't you, Blue Shirt? We know you're a Blue Dial fan.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
You would go for this one, so
yes,
I'll join you on that one, Blue Shirt. I'm a Blue Dial fan as well. Most of the clothes I wear are blue, so actually, blue dial is more versatile. They always say the black dial is the most versatile, but I think and actually the colors there, the way they intersect, it's kind of blue/black, isn't it? It'll be extremely versatile watch.
yeah. I want to welcome James Arthur on. James, welcome.
Hi, James. You okay?
Good evening, everybody. How are you all?
We're very well, very well. What do you think of this one, James?
Yeah, I've actually the whole long James collection is growing on me more and more, and I saw you posted this earlier in the week, and I actually quite like this one very, very much. So it's titanium, love the blue face, the hands. I think it's a great watch.
Yeah, I agree with Tom. Like what Longines have been doing in the last few years, fantastic. The one that keeps catching my eye is called a Heritage 1945, and it's got a copper dial, blued hands.
Yeah, that's very nice as well. I've seen that as well.
Yeah, very. Now there's a bit of a symmetry
What's
issue.
going on you? Try a spray ointment.
Who is the fugitive?
Sorry, Ben. You were saying?
There's a bit of a symmetry issue with the small seconds hands because they're using I think it's an ETA 2892, so they have to move the small seconds towards the central pinions, and as a result, then they put the words automatic underneath the small seconds to create the symmetry on the dial, and it's just a little bit jarring. That's the only issue I'd have with it.
Right.
So they have come a long way. I think we all agree. And Longines, in terms of re-editions, they have really come a long way, and they're, for the price of the watches, I mean, they're basically available to anybody who wants to get into the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. And they need to just keep moving forward by looking back into their collection history, because everything that they've been bringing back has been, a winner in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been, as we say, they've been knocking it out of the park for the past few years. I mean, with their heritage collection.
3 years now, mustn't it, Thomas?
Yeah.
Last 3 years. At
Yeah,
least.
with the heritage collection, just
Yeah.
some amazing models.
I
And
wanted to say
as well.
Yeah,
The
go ahead.
prices as well have been really affordable. Really
They have.
within reach.
and
Sorry, Bishop.
and just something like this eventually would be a good buy, as the other heritage models are on the gray market.
Yeah, great used market prices.
I mean, Longines could pretty much adapt a micro brand type marketing strategy and get themselves more penetration to the industry with more buyers. So I think they're very much underrated as a brand. People don't realize how good of product they've actually got on offer. I mean, Timex have done that sort of strategy and really got a good penetration into the marketplace. I don't think people realize how affordable these watches actually are.
Excellent point, for sure.
So we move on to the next news item.
Yes.
The Icopod and Tom Christopher Megapod. This is the Skaters in the Sky version. So resurrected 3 years ago, Icopod is returning to collaborations with contemporary artists. And here they bring one of their Megapod watches designed together with Tom Christopher, who's an artist best known for his paintings of New York streetscapes. The brand was originally founded in 1994 by Swiss businessman Oliver Icke and the industrial designer Mark Newson, but due to its small production, high quality components and high prices, failed to achieve commercial success and closed its doors in 2006. It was revived but went bust again once more in 2012, and that was mainly due to its focus on pricey watches again. It's now owned by a pair of Swiss entrepreneurs who are very much sticking to what they call entry-level watches. And the brand have always
I
had
don't
fans
know
of
what, but I know
contemporary.
what I like, and it's not that.
The brand have always been fans of contemporary art, and though largely made in China, the Megapod retains the design of original generation watches. The new dial features a Skaters in the Sky picture, which is a painting by Tom Christopher created for the collaboration, and it depicts skaters, birds, and skyscrapers, all representing the constant motion of New York City, they say. It's quite a nice style, quite an interesting one, but
It's different.
It's different. It's a patterned dial. I don't know. What do you think of this, Ben?
Not for me now. On initial thoughts, they've tried to squeeze a painting into a watch. They've done it. It's okay. It wouldn't be for me. I'm not a huge fan of the big chunky bezel. And it's
I don't know what, but I know what I like, and it's not that.
Yeah, they call it a UFO-shaped case.
Okay. Bit too colourful. Now, I'm only seeing a small kind of low-resolution image, so...
Yeah, it's got a silicon strap. It's 200 pieces, and they're selling it for $1,700. It's 46 millimeters across, and it's stainless steel. It's using a Miyota 9039 automatic movement with 42 hours power reserve.
What the holy fuck?
$1,700.
Yeah, $1,700.
I think a lot of that may be going to the artist. I mean, for the collaboration, it's not actually in the actual quality of the watch. I mean, you get this is more a collaboration with the artist, and a lot of that may be going to the artist. So, I mean, I know all about this brand and the guys behind this. I mean, obviously, it was originally done with. I mean, ID guy would know as well, but I mean, I've got their original watches in my collection. I love these watches personally. They wear well on my wrist. They're a big watch. They're very interesting. When these two entrepreneurs originally started up, they started up on Kickstarter with some private equity funding. They brought out 14 watches with a quartz movement. I've got all their watches, and they've recently relaunched their watches again with a automatic movement. I've got all their watches as well. I think their watches are fantastic, and I think their way to market now with collaborations with companies and artists, I think, is a really good thing. So I'm a huge fan. I think, but I'm as always, I'm left of field. I like different things, and you can still find the original watches in brand new, available, and they're great watches. You can still find them in brand new packaging. A lot of people are picking them up for very cheap prices. So they're actually a really good quality watch, believe it or not. And they actually wear really well on the wrist for those of us that like a bigger piece on the wrist. And they're different. They're a UFO sort of case. As I said, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of this collaboration. I mean, obviously, I love street art. I love Banksy. And I think we'll see some great things from this company in the future.
I think the art piece on its own looks fantastic. I'd be a big fan of Banksy as well, but it's just kind of jarring with me the way they've tried to incorporate it into the watch there. Not for me, this one, but I appreciate the difference and what they're trying to achieve there.
If you were to see the collection they came up with, their first collection of their iPods, they came up with some great salmon dials, different textures, different dials. Look, they've got a lot going for them in terms of their collection. What they were lacking originally was their way to market. And like a lot of, really, they are a micro brand. They might have had some success back in that early phase, and that which shut them down. And now the two new guys, it's actually one guy because the partnership's actually broken up, has now basically turned into, they bought a trademark, they bought a name. The partnership's actually gone back to one guy. And what they've done is they've bought a name, and they're trying to reinvent that name, and it's really starting out as a micro brand. And that's what it is. It's a micro brand with a trademark for an original name that failed. And they're basically trying to get entry to market. And I think the biggest problem with that is capital, a way into market. And I think if it gets to market properly, I think a lot of people will like this sort of change in watch. I mean, once again, it's got some pretty trendy features, and if it gets the right sort of audience, there's a percentage of the market out there that will love this style of watch.
But collaboration means you will be kissing your Monet goodbye.
True, Fugitive,
Possibly.
but it's not like you're breaking the bank with this one. It is, what was it? $1,700. So,
that's for the art collaboration. But if you look at the 14 pieces in their collection, they're probably saying for $600 blue shirt. For a standard watch with different textures and dials, they're probably saying for 600 Swiss francs. So they're not terribly expensive,
right?
As the term of a normal watch. Obviously, collaboration with an artist means a lot of money goes to the artist,
of course,
and depending on who the artist is.
Right.
But if you got to pay $600 for a standard model, that's not too much money. It doesn't break the bank. It's a micro brand. It's actually not a brand that's been established since 1986 or 87. It's actually a micro brand.
Yeah. Again, I'm not a big street art kind of fan, but I mean, this is cool. It's a big watch. It's different. If you like a lot of bright colors and stuff, I get it. And this isn't made in it's a limited edition, and it's cool. And if you like this kind of stuff, then definitely it's different. The shape is different. I can appreciate it.
I bet producer Mike would buy one.
I guarantee you producer Michael would be buying one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just a small segment of the market would buy one in the watch collecting fraternity, but it's not targeting the watch collector like ourselves. It's targeting a completely different market.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
We'll stop on that. And
just one.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Sorry, blue shirt. No, you carry on.
No, I just want to. I had one more here that we could touch on just briefly.
Yeah, sure.
And let me just pop it up here. Aorus came out with a new edition of their GMT.
Oh wow!
The Whale Shark limited edition, and I thought it was kind of interesting. Aorus, they're big on special editions, and they're very with their Aquas line. Obviously, they're
big on the environment as well.
Big on the environment, correct?
That's really cool.
So yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. Following up on the Blue Whale model that completed the popular Ocean trilogy in 2019, Aorus this year turns its attention to another majestic and endangered ocean dweller with the release of the Whale Shark limited edition. So this is the Aorus Aquas GMT Whale Shark. The whale shark, which is mainly found in tropical waters, can grow as large as a school bus, more than 40 feet long, and weighing more than 20 tons. It's the world's largest fish, and it's also an endangered species. Preserving the whale shark and its important role in the delicate ocean ecosystem has been the primary goal of underwater photographer Geraldo Del Villar, who also happens to be an Aorus brand ambassador. And his efforts have helped to spur the development of this new timepiece. And if you look, and I'll bring up if you can see the texture of the dial kind of mimics the texture and the pattern of the whale shark. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
Are you sure ID Guard didn't actually name this? Love the texture on the dial. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's nice,
cool.
isn't it?
It's cool. So it's based on the regular Aorus Aquas GMT model. The Blue Whale has a multi-part stainless steel case. It's 43.5 millimeters, so it's a big boy with a screw-down crown, and it has 300 meters of water resistance. Its bezel with an inlaid blue ceramic insert is not the typical dive scale bezel that ratchets in one direction, but instead rotates in both directions and is etched with the 24-hour GMT scale. Used in concert with the central orange tip GMT hand, this bezel enables the wearer to read the time in a second time zone in addition to the local time that's in the dial's white luminous treated hands. The bezel's colors flow from nighttime, black for the nighttime hours and blue for the daytime hours, while the shark textured engraved dial also features subtle gradation from the center to the edge. I just think it was really, really cool looking. It's got an orange GMT hand for in honor of our friend Orange Hand who's joined us. Welcome, Orange Hand. So that's always a key factor with him. It's the movement they're using is an Aorus caliber 798, which is based on the Sellita SW330. Okay.
So it's 330.
Right. So you're talking 28.8. It's got a power reserve of 42 hours. It's got the integrated bracelet, like most Auruses have, and it's $3,200. So it's a little more. It's a little more expensive than the normal Aquas, and a little less expensive than the Aquas with the new in-house caliber movement. But it's kind of interesting, and I just thought it was kind of newsworthy this week.
It's cool. I have to say, I love everything about Aorus at the moment. Love their Diver 65 range, the big crown pointer dates, and what they're doing with the in-house movement and offering huge warranties and power reserves. They're similar to launching previously. They're really knocking it out of the park lately. That's very cool to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and I would wear this watch without a problem. I think the watch looks really good.
Yeah, Seiko have done environmental type watches as well with dials that have they had the great white shark that you have to look very closely at the dial to see it. I think it was it's collaboration with Cousteau, and funds go back into the environment as well. So this is Aorus's take on that, and use the texture of the whale shark. It's brilliant. I love it.
All right. So I think that's all we have for the news.
I think so.
Shall we move on to Ben's collection?
Sure, absolutely. I just wanted to make one channel announcement.
Sure.
We had a couple of good streams where we got the punters to suggest 4 watches for $3,000. And we just had an idea to do maybe another stream of similar where we have punter suggestions. And if you could put in the chat your suggestions with the prefix of $15,000, we want you to suggest one used watch for $15,000 or under. So if you could suggest one used watch for $15,000 or under, we're going to feature those on a future show.
Awesome.
So have a think and put them in the chat, or you can send us an email. Have a think, and over the next couple of weeks, you can put those in the chat, your thoughts, and we can make a note of them and bring them up.
All right.
So, to Ben, Wonder of Watches. So, yeah, great to have you on, Ben.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tom. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, yeah, you've got your own YouTube channel. You're based in Ireland, in Dublin, I believe, and
I'm actually down in County Wexford, which is southeast Ireland. It's just south of Dublin. But on the east coast.
Right.
Yeah, so lockdown can induce strange notions in a man, and mine was to start a YouTube channel.
Why not? Absolutely. I mean, you got a very humble channel, and it's a great outlook on your affordable watch journey, as well as videos about other watches and other things to do with watches. I mean, you've had some. How long has the channel been going now? Has it been about 7 months or so?
7 months, yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you've done some great videos. I mean, I saw there was a great video on your most recent one, the watches of the Mercury missions, where you mentioned in your video about the Mercury project where Scott Carpenter, the astronaut, approached Breitling in 1961, requesting a watch with a 24-hour scale, as the 12-hour scale would be no use, seeing as there's no day or night in space, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I guess when you think watches,
the Navitimer had only been in existence since 1954, and Breitling came up with the Navitimer Cosmonaut, of which I had no idea until I saw the video.
Okay, good. Yeah, I guess when you think of space and watches, your go-to is the Omega Moon watch. And that's synonymous with the Apollo mission. So I just wanted to have a quick look before that. And the first guy in space, Al Shepard, didn't wear a watch, and either did Gus Grissom. But the third man then, Godspeed John Glenn, he wore an Air stopwatch. I can't remember the reference number now, but Air were
Hoyer, the Hoyer stopwatch.
Hoyer, yes, yeah. Sorry, my Irish idiosyncrasies.
No worries.
And I believe there was a guy who discovered that, and Oyer were celebrating. They were so happy, but there was a kind of a backlash from the Omega, people saying, well, it was only a stopwatch. It wasn't actually a real watch. But that was the first timepiece in space, and then followed by Scott Carpenter's Navitimer. And really, they committed a faux pas by calling it the Cosmonaut, because obviously there was a space race with the Russians at the time, and calling it a Cosmonaut may not have been the best marketing move. And it went off, and then so the last guy then, Wally Schirra, he actually he's synonymous with the first Omega in space.
Correct.
But he also wore it was a Bulova astronaut was the make at the time. He had one on either wrist, and he had to do a manual burn out of orbit back into re-entry. But we're not quite sure which watch he used to time the burn, so Bulova could get a good kick from that one as well.
Yeah, no, you did another great video about the watches of Diego Maradona, and the watches that were given to him by the Camorra, which were basically the Neapolitan mafia, and the fact that he wore two watches, one on each wrist, and one was set to Argentinian time, the other to local time, and he was sponsored by Hublot in 2010, and even gave a Hublot to Pope Francis in 2016, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because as Irish people, we remember an episode where Bono put a pair of his sunglasses on the Pope's head, and we were all kind of cringing. But,
dear.
But maybe Maradona carries a bit more. But yeah, Maradona was always kind of shrouded in controversy, and they reckon it's possible, and I say this allegedly, that the Camorra backed the transfer fee to Napoli at the time. But then they used them. Obviously, Maradona has a well-documented drug habit. And the Camorra were supplying him, again, allegedly, with cocaine. And in return, then he'd be asked, to attend the inauguration of new business. And invariably, they'd give him a gold Rolex for his troubles. But he was obsessed with watches. He had a fantastic collection. But he had a couple of Daytonas as well, that he wore a Daytona on each wrist. But he had tax problems in Italy. And he was back over visiting Napoli, and the police stripped the two Daytonas off his wrist to cover his back taxes. There's plenty of interest there with Maradona, not just his watches, but watches is interesting as well.
Yeah, amazing. So we start with one of your watches here. We've got a Seiko, and Seiko plays a big part in your collection, doesn't it? And
yeah,
so
look,
do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, I'm a Seiko fanboy. It's an SKX. You were asking me there in an email what my first watch was, and I think my first one was probably an F91 for my communion. The other watch that comes to memory was I had a girlfriend when I was 15 years old, and she said to me one time, she said, Ben, she said, if you get a watch from your girlfriend, it means one of two things: either the relationship will last forever, or it's game over. The next week she gave me a watch, so guess which option she chose. I'm not.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah, that's okay, Tom. You don't need to feel sorry for me. But so I was kind of always very suspicious of watches, but I wanted to buy myself a watch, and of course, you go down the rabbit hole of researching the internet, and this one comes up time and time again as an affordable automatic. It is, of course, the Seiko SKX. Heavily modified there. I didn't actually like the SKX. I still don't like the SKX, to be honest with you. It's my next watch that was really the opening of the rabbit hole. I kind of kept going with it, but the SKX with the printed indices, the 7S26 that you have to shake, it's an automatic watch, which is great, but you can't hacking and hand winding,
I was going to say, is modifying being a bit part of the hobby for you?
No, I dabbled in it at the time. I was actually watching another YouTube channel, a guy called Watch. He's a really fun guy from Hawaii. Very unique personality, but he was modifying watches, and he had a lot of the equipment. He was great because he'd show you the process from start to finish, unedited. So you'd have spring bars flying at you and crystals, cracking. He didn't mind because he was happy to show the mistakes, and he murdered lugs at some stages, but he showed the equipment, crystal presses, and stuff like that. So I bought myself a crystal press and just started dabbling. Took off the bezel. There's a coin edge bezel on that. Like, the modding community with the SKX in particular is absolutely huge. And I'd say they probably got a fright when Seiko discontinued the SKX. But that mantle has been taken up by Mark now from Island Watch in New York.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So he does an SK. He does his own version of the SKX, which I believe the dimensions are identical. So the modding community can still thrive. I mean, there are some businesses out there. I can't think of their names now. There's but there's a couple of businesses out there that we're very reliant on the whole modding community, producing their own bezels, bezel inserts, crystals, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think we've all at some or many of us have gotten an SKX and experienced it, and it's for what it is and for what it was, it was a great thing. I'm kind of with you, Ben. I had mine for a while and I enjoyed it, but then it just that ancient movement, having to do the Seiko shuffle and not hacking, and it just drove me crazy eventually, and I stopped wearing it, and I eventually flipped it. But it's a good watch, and it is an icon in the hobby. And like I said, many of us have owned at least one SKX at one point or another. So I definitely hear you, but it's a good watch when you're first starting out in the hobby. Everybody should experience it at least once.
So move on from the SKX then to your next watch, Ben. So you say the Seiko heritage and history is a big appeals to you a lot.
Yeah, massively.
How does that appeal to you?
Well, the next watch was the Seiko SSR77. Sorry, I'm a bit of a reference nerd, but it was a reissue of the 6309 Turtle. But when you go back and you look at Seiko's history, they were the first. Their first dive watch came out in 1965. It was the 62 mass, but you can follow the evolution of design all throughout the divers that came after that. So you had the 62 mass, followed by the 6105, known as the Willard, famously worn by Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now. And then there was the 6309, which is around the 70s, early 80s as well. Cushion case.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I saw your video that you did about this watch, the SRP777, and from the looks of your video, you said it was a great bargain alternative to the Willard reissue.
Yeah, I was making the point that I'm not too impressed with Seiko's their latest 62 mass and Willard reissues. I think they've veered too far away from the original. Whereas with the 6309, you can buy a modern watch that is basically identical to the original, but you can pick these up for 250, 300 euro. And you're buying into the Seiko heritage, the Seiko brand, and you've got a really high quality watch. As opposed to the SKX, this has hacking and hand winding, the 4R 36 movements. We've got applied indices, although when I say applied, they're probably printed from the back. We've got the famous Seiko Loom crown at 4 o'clock, and the cushion case is so wearable. I don't know if you're familiar with the Timeless Watch channel. He's actually one of the he's another Irish guy. Have you ever seen his channel? Ushin, yeah. Yeah, yes. Or Ushin, we call him over here. It's
Ushin.
But he picked up one of these Seiko turtles. And he says it's his favorite watch at the moment, and he's got a huge Rolex collection. He just bought the red line twice. So it's a big old watch. It's 43, 44 mil, but the cushion case and the way that the rear of the case, it bevels down towards the wrist, it just makes it extremely comfortable to wear.
Yeah, I mean, I have the King Turtle with the sapphire.
That's the one that Ushin has. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and it's a great watch, and I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I'm a proponent of affordable watches. I some of the watches I'm showing here, I'm sure they're not in line with some of the other watches you've shown, but I think they showcase what can be bought for small money and still give you a hell of a lot of fun. Like, that's on a strap code Jubilee, so like another rabbit hole to go down. Do I put it on a mate?
Yeah,
I put my. Go ahead, Thomas.
So I was just going to say, I saw that you said it was a bit of strap monster, and are you a big fan of changing the look of your watch with different straps?
Oh, all the time. My wife was saying to me the other day, I don't know how you don't break your watches. Yeah, I was thinking of changing my username from Wonder of Watches to the Lug Hacker or Murder of Watches. Because
Brilliant.
Yeah, I've followed the same course that you did, Ben, and I with my King Turtle, I put a strap code Jubilee on it as well, and it classes up the watch a lot. And
the strap codes are great, Blue Shirt, aren't they?
They are. They really are. Well-made bracelets. Not a lot of money, and for something like a Seiko, it's it gives you a lot of variety. I'm not a big rubber strap guy, and the rubber strap that the Turtle and the King Turtle come on are fine, but if you want something different, if you want a bracelet, Seiko bracelets just they're not getting it done.
No, for sure. Particularly the clasp, like it's the same with my Zin 556 clasp. And you hear this all the time. Like I still can't understand why watch brands can't get a clasp right. They're still using stamped clasps, and it's very hard for them to get them right.
I mean, I saw that you did on the all 5 reasons that the Turtle is better than the Willard. You got 9.7 thousand views on that in seven months. That's amazing.
So you struck a nerve there, Ben.
I struck a nerve, and I guess I was leveraging the fact that there was a new Willard out, and I was trying to show how you don't have to jump. Like Seiko, they've got a market plan now of increasing their prices, but like in fairness, they have improved materials as well. This is a Hardlex mineral crystal. So they've introduced sapphire crystals. They've gone back into movement research. They've increased their power reserve. So all good stuff, you know. Talking about Hodinkee earlier on, like Hodinkee seems to be the vehicle for Grand Seiko in the US, and they want to compete with Rolex. But it just means that if you want to come in at the affordable level now, I think you need to look elsewhere. And I think people are looking at Orient. I think people are looking at the Chinese market, and a few different brands like that, you know.
Right, we'll move on to the next one. From the Turtle. So the big Seiko fan then.
Massive Seiko fan. Yeah, I just think what they do, bang for buck, is incredible.
So what have we here, Ben?
Yeah, again, at the affordable side of things, beginning my watch journey 3 years ago, looking for, you know, you've banked the diver. It's time to start looking at a dress watch. And this is the Orient Star Classic. Orient now, they've got a couple of dive watches that I think are competing for the space vacated by the SKX, the Komatsu, Mako, stuff like that. People will be familiar with those watches. Orient Star, they kind of see as being the premium side of the Orient brand, but they're still very affordable, you know. This has, you know, an incredibly domed crystal and a domed dial, in fact, blue hands and a power reserve indicator. And you can pick these up for €300 to €400.
Right.
I was watching Mad Men at the time with some of the vintage watches, and I think it got a huge, like, it pulls a huge amount on that vintage aesthetic.
I was going to say, it's got the look of a 50s Omega or something, hasn't it?
It does,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But an in-house movement. They're a sister company of Seiko. They have the same holding company in the upper tier above them. And they just do a great watch. In-house movement, power reserve indicator. And it's a solid watch. Pretty nice bracelet as well, you know.
Okay, you're Irish. How drunk were you when buying this?
I think I was fairly sober at the time. But it's hard to know being Irish.
So,
No, I think it's a
Oh,
great
that's the
watch.
problem then.
do you remember your first watch as a kid then, Ben? Do you remember your very first watch?
My very first watch was a Casio, without a shadow of a doubt. I got it. I used to be a devout Christian when I was 7. I'm not anymore, but we there was a ceremony here. I presume you have it elsewhere. Your first Holy Communion. Yeah. So the first time you receive the body of Christ, and here it's a huge deal. But as a 7-year-old kid, you know, all your relatives give you cards with like tons of money. But I remember at the time, it feels like tons of money. It could have been £100 or that, but somebody gave me a Casio, and I'd say it was an F90 or some derivative of it. Yes, definitely.
All right, so moving on. What do we have here?
Hamilton. This is Hamilton Khaki Navy Pioneer. When I bought this, I was just, I just think Hamilton are super. Again, if you want to get a good watch, decent price, you just can't go wrong with them. But they have an immense history as well. They're an American brand formerly. They were bought out by Swatch in recent times, so they're manufactured and distributed by Swatch. They use an ETA movement. I was upset. I wanted a really clean dial with Arabic numerals, kind of high legibility, and became obsessed with marine or deck watches. Stova do them, and Leico do them, Steinhardt do them, but the one I settled on was Hamilton, and I'm glad I did. This is, I think it was around 2016. They came out with a marine chronometer, which was quite a large watch. I think it might have been 44 mil, but it was set in a gimbal in a box, to kind of invoke the old marine chronometers that they used to use in the Navy back in World War II. And so at the same time, they came out with this watch, which is a 40mm variant. But I did a video on this, and I was fascinated with their history, particularly in World War II. They were the first not only to be able to mass produce marine chronometers, but the first to use an assembly line to do so. So marine chronometers, they were essential to the navigation of ship. For every hour you went, you moved 15 degrees of longitude.
It was to protect them from seamen.
Sorry? But so the marine chronometers at the time were all made by Ulysses Nardin, but with the Switzerland being stuck in the middle of war, they came from Britain and Germany as well, but Germany weren't going to supply the Allies for obvious reasons, and Britain were under constant bombardment from the Luftwaffe. So they turned to America, and whereas the Ulysses Nardin could produce, I think it was 400 marine chronometers per annum, Hamilton could do it on the assembly line, 500 per month. So they ramped up production in a huge way, and they say that all Allied vessels actually used the Hamilton marine chronometer during World War II, and they were pivotal to the war effort.
Really?
Smoke Eater's asking, what's the size of this watch?
That one is 40mm.
40mm. Okay.
Yeah. It suffers from what I was talking about earlier with the longing. It has a bit of a symmetry problem. Again, it's the ETA movement. It's moving that small seconds too far towards. You can see the lack of symmetry between the central pin and the 6 there.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. Nice one. That I like it. On to the next one then.
What's next? I can't remember, Tom.
So many, Ben. So many.
Coming up. Boom.
Yeah, I would look. We can gloss over this. It was, just another installment in the Seiko turtle craze. And actually, the SKX I bought that I modified, it was an SKX 009 with a Pepsi bezel. So I thought, and because I wasn't a fan of that, I thought, I want to cure that Pepsi bezel craving. I love this watch. It's got a sundial blue. It's just a really nice watch. It has the paddy symbolism on the dial. But I don't think I'm a huge fan of a Pepsi bezel. I'll never be going for a Rolex GMT, which is just as well, really, because you can't get one for love nor money. But just it's a little bit too colorful for me. But another kind of indicative of my turtle craze.
All right.
Yeah,
it's definitely it's the watch that I had. So and there we go with two of them.
So you've not got that anymore then, Ben, have you?
No, I still have the two of them. Yeah. No, I still have the two. I don't sell watches, Tom.
I was going to ask you, do you sell your watches up to buy others, or are you a hoarder?
I'm a hoarder, absolute hoarder.
So we've got the king, we've got the turtle, and the SKX here.
The two turtles.
Two turtles. Sorry, two turtles.
One is the Paddy Turtle, and anybody who's into Seiko, the SRP A21, they'll be very familiar with that watch and the reference there.
That's a different colour Hamilton, this one.
Yeah, Hamilton, very much a field watch, this. I suppose you're looking for an everyday piece that might maybe rival something in the more luxury end, like an Explorer or something like that. And again, you're looking at YouTube videos out there, and this was the one that kind of came up time and time again. Very simple dial layout, 24-hour markers on the inside, 12-hour markers on the outside. Uses a Hamilton H10 movement, which is a modified ETA 2824, but they cranked down the frequency on it to 21,600 to squeeze 80 hours of power reserve out of it. So nice watch,
Right.
very clean watch, and again,
I like that. I like the NATO you've got it on. It matches it really well, nicely.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a NATO fits well with a watch like that because they're watches that were they'd have a huge history in the army and stuff like that. So, and they would have been worn on a NATO, so it works well with a NATO.
So on to the next one. I take it this is your first collection of watches, then?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One and all.
You haven't, as you say, you don't sell them. You haven't been through a different phase of collecting different watches, then?
No, but I think now, like, if it came to evolving the collection, the time would have to come where I need to realize the value that's in there and start just selling pieces and looking for higher quality pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, for a field watch, you can't go wrong with a Hamilton. I had a Khaki officer's model, 44 millimeter, and it was a great watch. I loved it, and they're just classic.
Yes, yeah, and I guess like you're probably further down your watch journey than I am.
I am. You could say that.
Yeah. Yes.
But I had it for a while, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And Hamilton is just it's a great traditional brand, and especially for field watches.
Yeah, big time. And they're really good quality. They're robust. They're thin in profile. They're very comfortable on the wrist. They've got a very short lug to lug. Luminous Arabics, although the loom is not fantastic, I have to say, but just a really nice, clean watch.
Lovely, yeah. So what's up next then?
We have coming up.
So your collection hasn't changed much then, Ben, has it?
No, not to any great extent, Tom. Hold on to the watches that I have, and
see where it goes.
See where it goes, but definitely, say one of my Grail watches that I've put in would be Zenith Defy Classic. Now that's kind of at the lower end of luxury. So, but I think if I'm going down that road, I'm going to have to do a clear out at some stage. Like I have 20 watches in the watch box. I don't even know, how did it get there? It's a real, the mental illness began with the Seiko Turtle, and hasn't quite. Yeah.
So is this a Presage? This one?
Seiko Presage, yes, yeah. Just unbelievable value for money, these watches. The styling, actually, if you look at the polished bezel, and then you've got the brush lugs, and on the inside of the lugs you've got a facet that's highly polished, slopes down towards the bracelet, and style-wise it really is very reminiscent of a Grand Seiko Snowflake, or a Grand Seiko, entry-level Grand Seiko watch, but really for a fraction of the price. They've saved money with the movements big time. They've put a 6R15 in there. But style-wise, this one is known throughout the community as the baby Grand Seiko.
Right, yeah. Because of the dial.
More so because of the case shape and the bracelet.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah. But there's a high level of finishing to this watch. You've got really well finished indices. They're grooved on the top facet, so the light play is fantastic. Like, it's maybe difficult to see it in this image, but they will reflect anything that it's facing. So this is kind of sitting within a warm glow, so it's reflecting. It almost looks rose gold in color, but all those indices and hands are silver. There's great attention to detail. You've got two facets on the hands, on the hour and minute hands. One side is brushed and the other side is highly polished. I don't know if you've ever seen like a really black dial where you've Dauphine hands that are completely polished. If you point something at them, like a camera, if you're doing a YouTube channel, you point a camera at that, it just reflects it back completely. And the hands, you lose visibility on them altogether. So by having it half brushed and half polished, the polished side kind of absorbs the light, and you always have visibility on it. But the finishing, I mean, again, like this watch, you're talking €600-700. The finishing is just incredible, and another point that you can come in and get a really good watch for somewhat affordable price.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it has got that sort of I can see the likeness to the Grand Seiko bracelet.
Yeah, yes. And this is one of those watches where they've got the clasp actually bang on, and it closes flush. So there's no clasp that protrudes or anything like that. The clasp is not thicker at the clasp point. You've got a bracelet that's really well articulated, really well finished, and it comes down from 20mm to around 18mm at the clasp. So it's a cool watch.
Lovely. On to the next one then. So we've got a selection here of vintage Omega, by the looks of it. Some.
Yeah, this is my vintage Omega phase.
Yeah, some great watches here. So the forefront, are they all Omegas here?
They're all Omega, yeah.
Wow,
yes.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Yeah. The one at the back right, that was the first one. That's a 1954 Omega Seamaster. It has what they call beefy lugs. They reintroduced a new variation of that watch with a coaxial movement fairly recently, and it's a lovely looking watch. This is we were talking about it earlier. Theo and Harris has the automatic version of this. It's heavily patinaed, but it just has fantastic character, I have to say. Every time I look at this one in the watch box, I'm always kind of astounded by how much I like it.
The lugs are thick, aren't they? I can see that. Yeah, they're quite thick lugs. I'm loving the one at the front left with the small seconds. I love that one. Yeah,
it's proper vintage. And thankfully, I can get away with wearing vintage because I've got very, very spindly wrists. But that's
you don't have to say that, Ben. I wear a 34mm vintage Omega, a 1950s Omega on a beads of rice bracelet, and it wears fine.
Yeah, these were fairly well now with me, but that one's 14 karat gold. Obviously, you've got the Arabics. At one point during my journey, of just obsessed with Arabic numerals and just the legibility that they brought. Dauphine style hands, and the dial on that one is so clean. It's really been kept well. And I think I prefer, like, if you're going to buy a vintage watch, I think you're better looking for a clean variant rather than a kind of a highly patinaed one.
Completely agree. I was on just to interrupt you, I was on the hunt for a birthier watch for a long time, and it took me quite a long time to find something that was not, microscopic in size, because I got a fairly decent sized wrist, and that was in good condition. And I was finally able to find a 35.5 mil Omega Seamaster 30 that was in good shape. And I love it.
And I love the diver on the right hand side, the front right. What year is that? Do you know, Ben?
That's 1990.
Really?
Yeah, that's an Omega pre-bond. And it wasn't always called a pre-bond, but that's what they call it now on the Omega catalog as well.
Right.
Called a pre-bond because clearly the successor to it was the notorious Bond.
Yeah, sure.
But this is the first time, and actually, it's interesting because it has the Mercedes style hands, so it's like a cross between, it's using Rolex hands effectively.
Yeah, interesting.
This is an automatic watch. It's got a caliber 1111, but it's based on an ETA movement. But it's called a pre-bond because the style elements that were introduced, the the two fingers at 12.
Mm.
That's what ultimately fed into the Bond. So you can see the style cues already at this stage.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Lovely.
I like it. All right, so
Move
why
on
don't
from
we
this picture.
move on
Has
to
an
the
integrated
next.
bracelet and all that, so it's pretty cool to watch.
This is just a different picture, different shot of it. Nice. All right, what do we have here, Ben?
It's just another watch in the collection. We might move on from this one. This is just a Vostok Kommandersky.
Okay, hey, there are
Hey,
many
interesting.
fans in the hobby of Vostoks and the Kommandersky in particular. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like the numerals on this one. Quite nice.
Yeah, I think it's Vostok's attempt at a blank pan 50 fathoms.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks a
Mhm.
bit black on.
it's got definitely styling cues from the 50 fathoms for sure.
Yeah. One you'd bring into an apocalypse.
Right, because it's, hey, these are very affordable and they're built like tanks, these watches. They're literally indestructible.
Yes, one of the idiosyncrasies that anybody familiar with them is gonna know about the wobbly crown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you unscrew it from the case, and you almost feel like it's broken, but it's detaching the crown.
Yeah.
No, it's just detaching the crown from the stem. So if it took a knock, I think in that position, it won't break the stem or destroy the movement on you.
And Alejandro is saying, is this a 40 millimeter watch?
It's bigger than 40 mil. I think it's 42 mil.
Right. Okay.
And the lug to lug on it is, quite a hefty 51 mil on that one.
Wow. Right. So it's quite a big watch to wear.
It's a big old watch, yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
I love this one. Is this your Oreo? Is it?
Aureole, yes, yeah.
Aureole. Yeah. So this is using a Landeron movement, isn't it?
Yes, a Landeron 48. It's a cam operated chronograph as opposed to a chrono wheel.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly enough, this is what the Swiss were doing. It's kind of like what a lot of Kickstarter projects and stuff do now. They kind of look and see, what's available from Chinese factories or whatever. Then they put their own branding on it and sell it as their own piece. And this is what the Swiss were doing this is what a company called Chrono Suisse were doing back in the 40s and 50s. So they could they do the dials and the hands. They'd put a Landeron movement or a Valjoux or a Venus movement. Venus actually used a column wheel movement, which subsequently they sold their machinery to Seagull, who now famously put chronograph movements in their 1963 and other Seagull variants. But so they could supply these two small micro brands effectively, like Aureole. There's another one called Defa. There could be 20 or 30 of these small micro brands. And there were these really nice, affordable chronographs that they could brand and sell them as their own effectively. And so with tourists, then they go to Switzerland, they could come out of Switzerland with a reasonably, well, to be honest, those Landeron movements are indestructible. So a high quality chronograph for small money from a small brand, but invariably all those watches were produced by Chrono Suisse. Some of them just carry the micro brand's name. This one, in fact, carries both. So it's got the Aureole logo and it's got the Chrono Suisse nomenclature on it there as well. So nice piece. It's got the tachymeter and everything is nice blues and reds there. It's actually quite a dynamic piece because even though the indices on it are printed, it's a kind of a rose gold color outlined in black, and as you shift it through the various different lights, they look black or gray in some lights, but then you catch it in the sun or whatever, you can really see that rose gold coming through on it.
Lovely.
But like these are these are fantastic vintage watches if you want to get into. If you're looking at vintage chronographs, you want to get in. eBay is full of them. Tons of different brands, but invariably made by Chrono Suisse, and it's just a great way to get into a vintage chrono.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, moving on.
Yeah. So this is your favorite blue dial of yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
This 62 mass re-edition, this one.
That's right. Yes.
You got 7,000, nearly 8,000 views on this one in 6 months for the video you did on this one.
Yeah. There was a 62 mass. So this is what I call the 62 mass reimagination before the 62 mass reimagination. Seiko don't do themselves any favors with their models, sometimes confusing people. But this one came out in, I think it was 2018 or 19. At the same time, they brought out it was the SLA 017, which was high quality, $4,000 to $5,000. Basically, a 1-to-1 copy of the 62 mass.
It's as a blue dial watch fanboy. I like this one a lot. I like the handset. I love the color blue. I just want to welcome some people that have joined us. Our longtime friend Mark P. Welcome, Mr. Perpetual. Welcome, James from Showcase Watches. James, thank you so much for joining us and stopping by. We appreciate it. So, how long has this one been in the collection, Ben?
I've had this one since early last year. Early last year, yeah. But I think I prefer this one to the new 62 mass reimagination. The people will know them as the SPB 14 series. I think I prefer this one, in particular the indices. I think they've probably pressed the dial on the new one, whereas I think these have a far more applied look to it. The steel used on the indices is more dense. There's more volume to the loom. And the loom is flat. It's level with the indices, which I know are very small details. But to me, that reminds me more of the original 62 mass, where if you look at the loom plots on the newer one, and I'm sorry if I'm geeking out here now, but
no, that's cool, man. You're talking to a bunch of watch geeks, so you're amongst friends.
And I haven't held one in the hand, and so I'm kind of I'm committing a mortal sin here. But you can tell from the pictures, the loom pips on the new one are kind of domed. They're machine applied. It's a beautiful watch, no doubt. This is a bigger watch, but I think the quality and the application of the indices, to my eye, looks better. It uses an aluminium bezel, but there's a lacquer on it, so it almost appears ceramic. This is an extremely dynamic watch. You can see the sunburst there just under my desk lamp, but even the bezel itself, because it's lacquered aluminium, the indices on the bezel look white there. But as you move them outside, they take on a kind of a grey form, and the blue of the bezel itself just constantly shifts between the blue spectrum. It's actually, to be honest with you, Tom, it was one of the main reasons why one of the things that I wanted to start a YouTube channel on was that I felt a lot of channels do a fantastic job, but when they were showcasing the watch, they do it under their studio lights, and so you didn't quite get to see, like, we all love watches. I think for one of the big reasons is the dynamism and how they shift shape and how they look under different lights. So you'll see from a lot of my videos, I take them out to the beach and I take them down
daylight,
Keyfront in Wexford,
sure,
or even under dull light. So you see a lot of shots both indoors and outdoors under various different lighting conditions to kind of show how the watch will look differently on the wrist.
Right, lovely.
And this is a prime example of that,
Lovely. So on to the next one, which is, I believe, your Tudor Black Bay.
Yes.
This is your pride and joy.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
a beautiful watch.
Yeah. Might be a bit obvious. It's pretty safe one to go into, but I just love this. I love everything about Tudor, and I love the way they've stayed true to the Hans Wildorf, his direction for the brand, where people could, get something that's associated with Rolex. It's not a Rolex, but it's far more affordable, especially now when you see sub prices on the used markets. They just seem to be going from bad to worse in terms of availability and prices. So here's an opportunity for people to buy something with a Submariner style. I also think Tudor can do something that Rolex can't. So Rolex are in a constant cycle of evolution, whether it be increasing case sizes or those small little incremental differences, but they never look backwards. Whereas Tudor can. And this one is clearly, well, it's the BB58, so it's a reissue of what Tudor were doing in 58. But what Tudor were doing in 58 was using Rolex cases and Rolex crowns, and they were putting in third-party movements by a company called Fleurier.
Right, yeah.
But their Tudor at the time was, to all intents and purposes, bar the branding on the dial, it looked like a Rolex 6358, which is, the famous one worn by Sean Connery, the one that everybody lusted after.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this does that. I think this, you can almost feel like you've got a 6358 on your wrist if you want to, if you've got a great imagination like I do.
when you did your State of the Collection video, you actually had it on a Bond strap, didn't you? On a Bond NATO strap.
Yeah, on the Sean Connery Bond NATO, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. There's an old Bond and a new Bond, and I suspect that obviously the old Bond is black with red and green stripes. I suspect when they were showing the old Bond movies on TV, everybody still had a black and white TV.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It morphed into just the black and grey variant.
You did a video with this on a strap called Jubilee, didn't you? Which I got 4,000 views in 6 months. This one.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I don't know why people are watching that video, because I tell you, I'll never make a surgeon. If you ever, I've hacked up so many lugs at this stage. But
You're not the only one, Ben. You're not the only one who's scratched a lug or two trying to change straps.
Yeah.
Or
I love the look of the Jubilee. I haven't put that Jubilee on it since, which I guess is not a great. I'm not marketing that particular strap very well, but the Angus Jubilee has thicker links than a regular Jubilee, and it's thicker, it's bulkier, it's chunkier, and to me, just didn't suit it. And then, of course, you put it back on the original Tudor NATO, and that in itself, it's a very fine NATO. It's made in loom factories in France, the same people who make the clothing for the Vatican. So it's a high quality NATO. Not a true NATO, it's a single pass NATO. In fact, it's attached to the lugs with spring bars.
Yeah.
But you throw it back on there and you kind of, I was kind of questioned what I was doing in the first place, trying to change it, to be honest.
Nice watch. Yeah. Lovely watch. So move on to the next watch.
Yeah, the next one I don't think is going to go down too well, but...
Well, this is an interesting one. The Steinhardt Ocean 139 Hulk, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, this one, you got 15,000 views on this one for the video.
So again, you struck a nerve there, my friend.
Yeah, you struck a nerve on this one. I mean, people are interested.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, right? And I know this is a homage, and I'm talking to watch people. It's clearly a homage to the Rolex, and people don't feel, people feel one way or the other about that. And that's perfectly fine. But you wouldn't believe the quality that's in this watch, honest to God. And they're putting a Sellita 200 engine behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a ceramic bezel. When you examine under macro, you see that the application of the indices and the lume and the engraving of the bezel is all, top notch. With a really good move.
Shot.
Sorry, Ben, carry on.
With a really good movement behind us, good bracelets, decent clasp, and these things, I mean, they sell like in their droves. They've got a partnership with Norman Watches.
Mm-hmm.
They sell directly. They have no middleman. They don't have any retail shops. There's nowhere to go and try them on, unless you're in Germany, I think. So with all those kind of, cutting down on the capital costs there, they can sell these fantastic value to the end user. And they're a fantastic watch, I have to say. But yes, clearly it's a Hulk homage. Although I do think there are some subtle design differences in there that, place it firmly into the homage category rather than the rip-off category, although you might disagree with that. Even as I'm saying that, I'm questioning myself.
We'll move on then. We'll move on.
Move on, because
we'll move on to the next watch.
While we're doing that, I just want to give a warm welcome to our longtime friend Turkey Vulture. Turkey, welcome.
Hi,
good to see you.
Turkey. Good to see you there, Turkey Vulture. So we've got another Seiko for the Seiko fanboy in you, and this one is the Street Fighter Seiko, I believe. The Ryu, is it?
Yes, the Ryu. Yes. They brought out a range of. This is where Seiko seem to be going now.
This is where you went to revisited your childhood, was it?
Exactly. Yes, being a child who grew up in the 80s and 90s, being a teenager in the 90s. I was kind of ploughing all my money into the local arcade shop, playing Street Fighter as a 10-year-old. So this is obviously harks back to that. And this is what Seiko are doing with their Seiko 5 range. They've got a base watch and they can customize it. And they're producing they've recently come out with a new range of anime. I don't know anime at all now.
Yeah, neither do I. So
yeah, but it has a cult following, and people love what they've been doing with creating watches that hark to some of those anime stuff. But this is obviously Street Fighter. This is the Ryu. You've got a textured strap which feeds into a textured dial, and it's supposed to be reminiscent of the Doji Judo uniform that Ryu wears in the game. Sure. So yeah, again, it's not for everybody. I accept that, fully colorful and everything, but it's actually this watch is pretty photogenic, would you believe? But there you go. Yeah.
So on from the Ryu of the dojo to the Hodinkee Timex Q. That's a nice one. This one, I like this style.
Yeah.
It's different to the other Timex Qs, isn't it? The Pepsi one and the with the Pepsi bezel. It's got a different bezel. I like it.
Yeah, stainless steel bezel. They removed the date window as well, so it just adds to the symmetry of it. That's under a desk lamp, so you can see the hour markers. They're difficult to see when they haven't received a bit of light and the luminescence.
Not highlighted, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. So they kind of blend into the dial. It's very simple watch. These things sold this is the power of Hodinkee. That they can put a watch up like this. It's not a limited edition.
Mm-hmm.
There's no numbers attached, and the thing sold out in a day, if not hours. But it was definitely at least a day,
Absolutely.
I just want to welcome Amin from the Amin Reviews channel.
Yeah,
guys, if you haven't subscribed to Amin's channel, you need to do so, because he does a live stream every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time,
Absolutely
and
wonderful.
it's much watch talk. It's a great show. So
Brilliant.
welcome, Amin.
Brilliant live stream, that, everyone. If you can subscribe to Amin's channel, you're in for a treat with his live stream. It's a great one. Yeah. So on to the next watch then, Ben.
Yes, move on. Yeah.
From the Hodinkee special to your favorite, one of your favorite watches, the Zin 556A.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah, these are Zin are great watches, and they've got a huge, it's got a huge fan base as well. And it's another example of not everything has to say Swiss made on the dial. It's German made. The kind of the watch personification of German efficiency, highly legible dial. Nothing's gone to waste here. You can see the thinness of the lugs. There's no wasted steel. The case itself, its diameter doesn't really exceed that of the dial of the watch itself. Uses a good high quality H-link bracelet. Very, very comfortable on the wrist. Great articulation. Very silky to wear. This is only 38 mil. And they've put a Sellita, an SW200 movement in there. But they've regulated it themselves, and this thing keeps time within COSC. I think it gains about 3 to 4 seconds a day.
Well, you can't ask for more than that.
No.
Cracking watch. I really like the layout, the design, the look. I like everything about it.
Yeah, it's the perfect everyday watch, really. It's a kind of a go anywhere, do anything. It's got AR coating on both sides of the crystal, so it's almost like you can touch the hands. Very Flieger style hands. So like Zin used to make cockpit clocks for the German Luftwaffe and airlines. So you can see that, you can see that style in the hands there. But like Zin is the go-to brand. Like if you want, hardened steel, tagemented steel, dehumidifying technology or anti-humidity technology, anti-magnetism, they do it all. Now, it's not necessarily in this watch, but in terms of watches that can survive in hostile environments, Zin is the way to go.
Oh, hell yeah on that one.
It's got contrast.
On from the Zin. What's this one then, Ben? It's a timer. Oh, it's a Yema.
A Yema.
Yeah. French brand.
Is this a new acquisition then, this one?
Yes, relatively new. Yeah, yes.
I like this a lot. I like it, yeah. A lot. It's got the rotating bezel class securement of the crown, hasn't it? And then I like the hands as well, the minute hand with the pointer on it. Really nice. And that blue dial, almost a purple dial, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Very interesting watch.
Yeah, I love this watch, I have to say. This is the Heritage Blue. It was originally released in 1963, but obviously this is the modern interpretation. I don't know about you guys, but I guess like as you go through, the watch journey, for want of a better expression, you kind of tire of triangle at 12, rectangles at 3, 6, and 9, and circles everywhere else for your hour markers, which everybody wants a piece of that action. This does something entirely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Different layout, different look. You're getting away from that Rolex, like you say, that Rolex circles everywhere and triangles at the 12. And
does this one you have to unscrew the crown a little bit to rotate the bezel? Does it have the captive bezel?
Yes, yeah. Now, I don't go diving. The most time I use a bezel is to time the pasta.
Like most of us, Ben. Like most of us.
Just like to say a quick hello to JCB quickly. Sorry, man.
JCB, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. We always appreciate it. Another good channel, guys. JCB does a great job, and he does live streams too. So please subscribe.
So on from the Yema.
Okay.
We got your new acquisition, Ben.
Yeah, this is the latest acquisition.
Cartier. Very
Cartier
nice.
tank.
The Cartier Tank Française.
It's a nice one. It's modeled after the Renault tanks of World War One.
Yes. Yeah. I love this watch. There's a friend of mine. He's in the Dublin watch group. Elton. If you ever hear this, Elton, thanks.
Thank you, Elton.
Yeah. Elton is big into his passion. Really is for dress watches, Chopards, Longines, Cartier.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Zenith as well, and Rolex, and he's fan of the Datejust and the OP and all that kind of thing. But we met at Christmas time, and he had a Cartier Santos, and there was quite a few watches in the room that night, Rolex, Grand Seiko, but this Santos, for me, and I never ever, I guess it's one of those things until you get it on wrist, you never really know. I wasn't actually a fan of Roman numerals, but then I looked at this and I said, God almighty, nobody does Roman numerals like Cartier.
I was just going to say those Roman numerals look awesome, don't they? The way they've laid them out in that rectangular format, that square format, looks great.
Yes.
Yeah, and 73 MAF, says it well. Cartier equals class. I mean, it's a classy looking dress watch that can double as a sports watch.
I think so. I know people who put tanks on rubber straps, but what I like about this one is the cabochon diamond, the cabochon jewel on the crown. It's like it has been worked and it has been faceted, but it's quite flat. It's not the typical domed cabochon that you see.
Right.
And the crown itself, like it's almost industrial. It looks like a nut. So I love it. Like this, I think for a tank, this is quite masculine looking with the nut for the crown, and the thick bezels and all that. Then you got the hidden Cartier.
I was going to say, would you see the direction of your collection going more towards dress watches, or are you going to stay more in the Seiko sort of sports watch field?
You see, at the moment, to be honest with you, I feel like the BB58 has satisfied or quenched any appetite for a dive watch, for a luxury dive watch. It does everything I need. So, I love what Gerard Perregaux do with the Laureato. I will never be in the sphere of buying an overseas or a Royal Oak. But with the Laureato or even the Zenith Defy, that cross between those kind of luxury sports watches, I see that's really where I would go next. They're not explicitly dress, they're not explicitly sports watch, but they're somewhere in between, and it will look as good in going into a meeting as it would do with a polo shirt. So I would say that's what's next. But like, I guess you do come to a point where if you're wearing Tudor and you're wearing Cartier, you do look back on the Seikos and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to. I guess everybody does this. It's hard to maybe go back there, but I have to say, like, Seiko. I suppose I guess I'm a fan of Seiko, so I'll keep that stuff, and they're a great way into the hobby for people. So I don't want to be too deride them too much, but these watches are on another level,
So skip on from the tank. I believe there's you just skip on another photo? The
Sure.
other, past that one, and past that one to that one. There we go. So is this the Junguns you've got?
Yeah, Young Hans chronoscope. I was supposed to sell this one.
It never made it, huh?
It never made it. The Cartier came up, and I said I had ordered the chronoscope. I was like, okay, we'll send back the chronoscope. But then Tom will notice there's quite a bit of confusion. I hope the revenue commissioners are not listening to this now, but it's quite a bit of confusion with Brexit at the moment. So the company I bought this one took their VAT off it, and I wasn't charged VAT on this side. So I kind of thought, do you know what?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So hopefully the IRS are not listening, but I did well on that one.
Very good deal.
Yeah, it uses a Value 7750. The noisy rotor stands out, but as you're manipulating the time and the date, this one it screams quality. You know, it's Bauhaus. Sometimes I don't like chronographs because I think they're too busy, but this one manages to retain a great degree of legibility while still having the hour and minute chronograph functions. There is no moving seconds. That's the only thing.
So that's your watch collection then, Ben.
Yeah, that's it, Tom.
Great. I just wanted to, you mentioned the Dublin Watch Group briefly, and you mentioned that it puts you at the centre of what's happening, both in terms of the collection scene and being able to borrow watches for videos, and but also to stay in touch with watchmakers, and how it puts you into thriving Irish brands and the increasing thriving watch scene in Ireland. And
yeah, there's just some fantastic stuff.
Wanted to talk to you about some of the upcoming Irish brands and established Irish brands, if possible. I've got to put some links in the private chat for you, Blue Shirt, if you could
absolutely.
go to those, please.
Sure.
So yeah, there are about 5 companies, I think, 5 or 6 companies. I just wanted to talk about quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I'll run through these, Tom. I won't.
So the first one was Devo watches, I believe.
Oh, did I go to the wrong one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just one at the top.
Okay, hold on.
Devo or Devo.
Devo, yes, run by
Owen.
Gotcha. I got it. There we go.
And he was he's this is one of his watches, the Green Sea, I believe. Sorry, the Blue Sea. And so do you want to tell us about Owen?
Yeah, Owen. Well, he's a friend, I suppose, first and foremost. I'm sure you won't mind me saying he's a young man. He's 27, entrepreneur, and so he's come out with his own brand. He recently is selling automatic dive watches. Had one of these for review, and they are superb quality. Screw down crowns, 200 meters water resistance. It's got the orange minute hand. I think there might be some fans of orange minute hands.
Yeah, I am. Definitely.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah, we featured to one of his new sector dial dress watch on the thumbnail of the stream, didn't we?
Yeah, so
just a prototype. It's just about to bring out, isn't it?
On the thumb. Yeah, yes, exactly.
I've actually heard of this brand as well.
When a dive watch comes along, you must whip it. Come on, am I the person that's thinking that? It's named Devo.
We've had that as a joke in the group. Would you believe?
Yeah, that's pretty damn obvious.
Have you ever seen that video? It's maniacal. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Well, anybody who's over 30 or 40 has grew up with that. But yeah.
Dun. Sorry. God damn it.
But Owen is he's passionate about watches. He's got a huge passion for independent brands. Debethune.
Yeah, he's about to relocate to Miami, isn't he?
He's about to relocate to Miami, and he has his own YouTube channel as well, talking watches with Owen.
I believe we saw him in the chat earlier on.
Yes,
yeah.
He was there.
Yeah, big fan of H. Moser, and he's so he's actually start to put pen to paper now, and he's designing his own watches from the ground up, and he's come up with a superb sector dial piece, almost reminiscent of the Heritage Longines or Patek models, but with his own slant on them. And looking at pictures of them, there's fantastic contrast on the dial between them. He's a blue version and a green version, and the contrast between the silver and the greens. He's using a jewel in the crown, like a cabochon jewel, and they look spectacular. Now I think they're high quality quartz ronda movements, which as opposed to a normal quartz movement, they carry 10 jewels as opposed to 1.
But these divers are automatic, aren't they?
These are automatic, yeah. These are our NH35 movements.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
So just move on to could you move on to the next brand, Blue Shot?
I can.
Which are Siderius watches, I believe.
Yeah.
Siderius watches, yeah.
Siderius, sorry. You got to excuse my pronunciation now.
Sorry,
I'm butchering all the names, aren't I, Ben? Sorry.
No, not at all. No.
Do you want to tell us more about this brand, Siderius?
Yeah. Brian Leach is the man behind the Siderius brand from Carlow. Really active member of the Dublin Watch Group. Great fun. Absolute gentleman of the highest order. These watches are entirely hand-built in Ireland. The name comes from Sidus, the Latin for star, and the sidereal year, which is the time taken for the sun to come back around to the same point, relevant to the stars. Now, what's really interesting about these watches, particularly for anybody who's interested in coming to Ireland, is they take huge inspiration from the monuments at Newgrange, which is on the east coast of Ireland. These are monuments that were built 5,000 years ago by ancient farmers, and they actually have been marking the passing of time for the last 5,000 years.
Interesting.
Here, it takes the form of the tumulus, which is the Newgrange monument. And a lot of people will be familiar with that the world over because it's a world famous heritage site. And the winter solstice on the 21st of December, there's a window box at the entrance to it, and it catches the sun perfectly. So it lights up this long passageway down to the inner chambers. So you've got the K-shape, which takes on that form of the tumulus. You've beautifully designed lugs here.
I love the moon phase one. It's really nice. That.
So is the site kind of like what's the one in Britain? Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too dissimilar to that. Certainly in terms of timelines and historical timelines. But these ones, they're world famous. They sit on the Boyne River just north of Dublin, and this idea during the winter solstice of the sun kind of passing through the passage is something that's famous the country over. People pay huge money to get to witness it, or just to get in there. It's quite a privileged thing to be able to see.
What's the lug to lug distance on these, Ben?
Lug to lug, I'm not. It's a 44 mil diameter watch.
Okay.
Lug to lug, I'm not sure. I think it could be. Maybe I have it here. I don't know. You're 44 mil diameter and 15 mil in height. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Really nice. Really nice.
But these are designed from the ground up in Ireland. Brian is just unbelievable. He's been involved in graphic design for 40 years. Designed for some of the greatest manufacturers in Europe. Really, really clever guy. And this is his range, his collection of watches.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next brand, which
almost
is
kind of a little Mingish, doesn't it, because of the dials? But in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Very nice.
It came before Ming, though.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of the large stone monoliths that were built all over Western and Northern Europe keep track of the passing of the moon and the seasons. Well, as it turns out, the Japanese built a much smaller and cheaper one. So it literally was a crisis at the time, way back in the time.
What do you think of these, James?
Yeah, I quite like them. I'm not a big fan of the moon phase one, but I like the other two. Definitely the size suits me well. I'd like to read more about the history in terms of the design DNA, but yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, they're very interesting.
He
Very
has
interesting. These
pretty good website, James, with the design journey on there. It's very good, very informative.
Yeah, I'll definitely check out them. I've heard the Devo. This one I haven't heard of, but I'll definitely be checking it out.
So the next was solar swatches, and that's Diu Wu, who you say was born in China but moved to Ireland.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, grew up in Ireland. He practices now as a solicitor, but has a huge passion for watches, and his main aim behind this watch was to bring elements that would normally be reserved for maybe the more affluent among us in terms of micro rotor movements, aventurine dials, to a watch that's affordable. And so he came up with the Solos watch. Uses a Hangzhou 5000A movement. It has micro rotor, beautifully decorated with Geneva striping. The dial here is absolutely mind-blowing, and I've reviewed this on the channel. It's an aventurine dial. It's like a glass that has small elements of metal in it, and the interplay with the light is just exceptional. The way how this thing shifts in color, and those pinholes of light pinging at you effectively like a galaxy of stars it's mesmerizing to look at. But the case design is unique to the watch. So Diu, he spent all his life over here. He's actually been a great champion of the Irish language. He appeared in a movie called Yu Ming is Anam Dum, which is shown in schools throughout Ireland, of a Chinese guy who spins a globe, puts his finger on a spot, and makes his way over to Ireland. But before he does, he spent 6 months learning the Irish language only to get over here and realize that very few of us speak Gaeilge or Irish natively. So we speak
right.
Yeah. So he's a really interesting guy, big into the Irish element of it. A lot of the inscriptions on the rear are Os Gaeilge, are in Irish. In that movie, he starred with a guy called Frank Kelly. You might know him as Father Jack from Father Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So another brand. We move on to the.
How much does that one go for? That one is seriously nice.
Yeah.
He launched the Kickstarter campaign. I believe outside of the Kickstarter, it's selling for, I hope I'm right, $3.99.
So that'd be euros.
Euros, yeah, €399.
Right.
What do we got next, Thomas?
We've got the Oilian.
Elon.
Sorry, this is me butchering the Irish language again. Sorry, again.
Celtic Watchcraft.
Sorry, Tom. You just, it's impossible for anybody outside of this country to get.
Sorry, this is John.
It's not your fault. Nobody can do it.
This is John McGonnelly.
John McGonigal.
John McGonigal. Sorry.
Yes.
John McGonigal.
Very
John McGonigal.
MVF there.
Do you want to tell us about John McGonigal? He's the Irish watchmaker from Athlone.
Yes, John and Stephen. I don't know if ACB is still in the audience, but I'm pretty sure he'd be familiar with these guys. Master watchmakers, went to the Swiss Institute of Horology in Dublin. John has worked with Christoph Claret, Frank Muller, sorry, I'm wrong about that. John has worked with Christoph Claris and Audemars Piguet. And they started himself and his brother started McGonigal watches in 2006, but I think just due to logistics, Stephen is still based in Switzerland. John kind of branched out, and this is his first watch as a solo artist. It uses a Valjoux 88, seriously complicated movements. This does absolutely everything. Chronograph,
it looks like some perpetual calendar.
Perpetual calendar,
with a chronograph,
and chronograph. It's a famous movement, but John would have taken all the components. He would have stripped it right down to its bare parts, would have refinished everything and put everything back together again. In fact, if there's a picture of the chronograph bridge at the rear there, you could call it the heart of the movement, or it also looks like an Irish harp. So huge. Yes, there it is. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, really quality watchmaking, this, isn't it?
This is horology at its finest. You could probably expect to pay around $25,000 for this one.
Really? Wow.
But he still managed to keep this one quite svelte. Like it's 12 mil, 12.5 mil thick, I think, and 40 mil.
It looks a lot thicker than that on the actual photo.
It does. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Looks like it's about 14.5, 15 mil. If you scroll down,
yeah,
there's a photo of the actual thickness of the watch.
Sorry, it's 14.2 mil. You're right. It's 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was about 14.5.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But you know, I think given the movement that's involved, and he's not afraid to, like, this is a grade 5 titanium watch as well, and he uses a sapphire dial, so not afraid to experiment with new materials.
Amazing. Yeah. So move on to his brother's brand, the McGonigal.
Stephen McGonigal, yeah.
Stephen McGonigal. Yeah. John's brother, another monster independent watchmaker, you say.
Yes.
His designs are uniquely Irish, you say. And
yes.
Creates his own in-house movements, including a tourbillon and a minute repeater. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, it looks great.
That looks awesome.
A master of his craft.
It's got some GF DNA looking there.
Stephen again went to the Swiss Institute of Horology. He's worked with Christoph Claris, Frank Muller, and at one stage was head of complications at Breguet.
Wow.
Really? Head of complications at Breguet. Wow.
Yeah. So serious pedigree here.
Yeah, serious stuff.
43 millimeters. Very nice.
Nice size.
So what could you expect to pay for this, do you know, Ben?
I don't wonder I actually don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know.
A lot of money, to be honest with you. Yeah. Let's just say a lot of money.
But it's stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah. It's a stunner. This one actually is called the Tusker, and it's named after a lighthouse on Tusker Rock. Do you know Tusker Rock, Tom?
No, I'm not familiar with that. No.
It's on the Rosslare to Pembroke shipping lane.
Right.
It's actually, Rosslare is in Wexford, where I'm from, so just to bring that kind of back around full circle. They put a lighthouse on there. It's a set of rocks that jut up out of the sea, but it's well off the coast, and it was causing havoc for ships. So they put a lighthouse on there. Actually, there was an Aer Lingus flight crashed just off the Tusker Rock in 1968. But anyway, so that's what the watch is called after. But like, what this guy is doing is just absolutely insane.
Looks like it's got spear hands.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
not too sure I like the logo placement, but
I quite like it, to be honest with you. It's like something from Harry Potter.
Depends what you're paying for the watch, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like this one. Anyway,
I do like this one too.
Yeah, love it. Love the look of it.
Yeah, I love the look of it. Move on to the next one, which is the SAS Watch Co.
Yeah, great Hall.
Sea, Air and Sports Watch Co. It stands for.
Yeah.
Which is it's a Graham Horton, you say?
Graham Horton, yeah, from Bray
in Wicklow, yeah. These are pilot and diver style watches created to withstand hostile environments, you say. And the dive watches are completely over-engineered with a water resistance of 1,000 meters, including helium escape valves. So there's some quite hardcore watches here then, Ben.
Yeah, some hardcore watches. He's a sister company as well that do dive watches. It's called Melissa.
Yeah, we're going to look at those in a minute. Yeah.
Are these used by any special operations groups?
The Melissa watches are.
Yeah, they were designed. I was asking that question today. I was actually asking Brian that today.
Love the case.
We're not 100% sure, but I know that the prototypes of the Melissa were tested. They were tested by the U.S. Navy SEALs and
really
bomb disposal experts in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Wow.
Yeah,
tested,
but they were tested as prototypes, but not used.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope you're right.
It's a big statement.
Yeah.
It's like I know some of the brands that are actually used by the actual military and special operation groups.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you talking about that during the last podcast.
Yeah. Love the case. Case is really
nice,
designed.
isn't it? Lovely.
It's completely different to anything I've seen.
Cushion case sort of styling.
It's sort of a cushion case with a different. Yeah, it's a wonderfully designed case. What's the pricing of these?
800.
Wonderfully priced for that sort of design.
Yeah.
So Melita was the last brand.
Can I ask you an Irish non-watch related question?
Of course you can.
You guys don't do corned beef and cabbage over there, right?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure. I always thought that was like an Irish American thing because the Jews in New York City said, "Hey, you got it." Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. You got to have your corned beef and cabbage and buttered potatoes and. Oh, you have hash, don't you?
So
that's right.
Don't you have your No, you have your potatoes. You have it with cabbage in it, don't you?
Yes, yeah. You I think you got it right there. Hash. That's what they call it. Yeah, mixed cabbage mixed with onions and potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay, because you guys are starting to make me hungry. So let's get back to the watches.
Let's get back to the watches. This is the sister brand of SAS watches, Militia. You say it's a high grade professional watches made for military and law enforcement, designed in Ireland. And so, tell us a bit about these, Ben.
Yeah, Melissa watches. Melissa is the Irish word for military. They've got fixed lug bars. They come on a NATO. They use Miyota movements regulated to 6 positions and purpose-built for military and law enforcement. Now, just going back to James's question earlier, I was trying to find out whether Graham has supplied any of those bodies. We're not sure. I might try and contact him after this. This was the one that's been tested apparently by US Navy SEALs and bomb disposal experts in Iraq and Afghanistan. Crystals are extra thin to keep the sand out and to minimize reflections, which whereby might give the location of the soldier away.
Yeah, they want them to keep them stealth.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So they want low loom.
Interesting. Really nice watches, these. So these are all brands that you've been put in touch with through the Dublin Watch Group.
Well, this one, Graham, Stewart, and the McGonagals, we wouldn't know, but Owen Devlin, Brian Leach, and DU are all very active members of the Dublin Watch Group.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Could you possibly bring up the very last link that I put in blue shirt? Just the one that says Weir and Sons.
Yes, I can indeed.
The very last one.
Yep.
This is it. Weir and Sons are jewelers in Dublin, then, aren't they, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, they stock everything in terms of an AD. You see, like, I guess, Ireland is predominantly rural. Dublin is the centre. A third of our population live in Dublin city, so it's kind of where everything happens. Although people from Cork would dispute that, and Cork is quite a large city as well down in the southwest. Cork has Keen's Jewelers, but Weir's is the big one in Dublin. Beautiful old shop. It's been in existence for 150 years. They're a family-run business, and they stock everything: Rolex, Tudor, Patek Philippe, Panerai.
So they've actually collaborated with Patek Philippe on this watch.
Yes,
for their anniversary, their 150th anniversary, is it?
That's 100%. Yeah. So they've been stocking and selling Patek Philippe for the last 50 years.
Really?
And this was a collaboration to celebrate that and to celebrate 150 years of Weir's. The color, well, for a start, it's emerald green, so that's quite obvious. But it was
Very
also
Irish.
yeah.
Looks great, actually, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh,
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
It
Lovely.
really does. It really does. I just want to quickly welcome Bobby Legs, Rob from the Bobby Legs channel. Again, guys,
Hi, Rob.
if you don't subscribe to his channel, he does great watch reviews, and he does a live stream on Friday nights. That's well worth it. So welcome, Rob.
Yeah, and everyone, if you could please take the time to look up Wonder of Watches. Look up Ben's channel and
Yes,
subscribe. That'd be great.
I was
Yeah,
going to
that'd
get
be-
to that at the end, but yes, thanks for reminding. Yes, please check
Yeah.
out and subscribe to Ben's channel.
I'm sure I'd appreciate it. If you could look up Ben's channel, Wonder of Watches, and have a check out some of his videos, and possibly subscribe if you can. You'd love that. So Ben, it's been great having you. It's been lovely to have you today. I mean, we've seen some of the watches of yours and some of the great brands that are involved in the Dublin Watch Group, and great to hear about you.
Yeah, thanks. It's been an honor, I have to say. I feel like I've been speaking
Oh, it's
for
all, pleasure's all ours. Pleasure's all ours, my friend.
You've done a marathon, Ben.
Well, you
Hopefully-
gotta. Go ahead, Thomas. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, hopefully you'll be the next Timeless Watch channel.
Oh, I don't know about that. My God, what that guy does is incredible. His narrative arcs, he's just like insanely creative.
Did
Wonderful.
you want to touch on some of these other ones that you had posted, Thomas, or you want to save that for another day?
Yeah, we can go through those if you've got time.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just some of the other watches that were in Ben's sort of a grail, or ones that he's lusting after at the moment. Got his eye on.
Okay.
Maybe look at the Resonance watch one. I think that's an interesting.
Okay. We could go to that.
Great choice. Great choice.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you're fascinated by Resonance and the perpetual motion of the Resonance dials. This
Yeah,
is
incredible.
Type 1 squared, this one, isn't it?
Yes.
This is the amazing watch.
Do you
Very
have one of these,
interesting.
James? You got one of these, James?
I do indeed, yes.
Good
Yeah.
choice.
Cool. Beautiful watches.
I've got quite a few of these in my collection. I love them. Still can't get over how they're so mechanical, and you just can't imagine how they work and function.
I imagine looking at that in real life would be like being in the court, in the Russian court, like the last 2 centuries ago, and looking at a Fabergé egg.
Yeah, absolutely. Just amazing, aren't they? Really,
They really
amazing.
are. They keep getting better and better. I mean, they really do. They're so fun to play with. I mean, it's like looking at like how you can stare at a movement for so long. You know, when you got a beautiful movement like, say, an Ed White or any movement that you love and adore, you can just look at it. You're not really interested in the front of the watch. You're really interested in the back of the watch.
Right.
Well, this is like having the back of your watch on the front of your watch you can play with all the time.
It's cool. I definitely can appreciate them.
It takes a while to adapt to work out how to use and read them, but if you want to have fun, there's a great stimulator on the Resonance website where you can pull up any of their watches and even the dive watch or even this model, and you can actually just use your finger and play with it, so you can get used to it. See if it's appropriate for you, if you'd like to own one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a real live simulator of the watch.
Yeah.
So anybody who's
it's
interested
wonderful.
in playing with one and seeing what the actual watch, how it functions, how it works, you actually can go on and actually do that on their website.
Right.
Now, how many
Yeah.
fingers does it take to stimulate it?
Sorry?
How many fingers does it take to stimulate it?
just one's enough, Clive.
Wow.
It depends how big your finger is.
I do have big fingers.
I do too.
Interesting.
That's actually
Very cool watch.
It's just a very cool watch. 37.5
really
mils of
cool.
oil, that's all it needs.
I mean, you said that the Langer Datograph was one that really caught your attention and got you into high-end watches.
Yeah, I think, some people might say, how does a watch cost 100 grand? And I think you can show them this one and say, this is why.
I agree. I've had this watch in my hands and on my wrist, and just looking at the back of it, you're mesmerized. It's I've never experienced anything like it. It's just an amazing piece of machinery. The depth that the movement has is just it's stunning.
And you never lose that feeling.
Right. It's literally, a watch that you can wear.
Absolutely fascinating.
Reversed.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you can just sit there in your hand and just play. You'd rather play at that than your iPhone. I mean, it's just amazing. I would say to you, Ben, if you want a Resonance, I mean, there's a lot of people that buy them because they want to be the cool kids and have one in their collection, but then just simply, don't like them. It's like people who buy a Samsung watch and decide to buy an Apple Watch instead. Wearable technology that you can pick up the Resonance watches, because they don't hold their resale terribly well because they're not a popular buy. You can't buy them on the pre-owned market, basically brand new a lot of the time for virtually, a very substantial discount from new.
Very good. Yeah, that's good to know. It's good to know.
I forever see them, even the first generation of them or the second generation of them, I've forever seen them for virtually, nothing, going for nothing.
Okay.
I'd say the first, second generation are just as fun. Obviously, the newer models and the dive models got bigger in size and they changed a little bit. But I think anything in the Resonance line is good to start with.
James, am I correct in saying that Type 1 squared, it's not oil filled, it just appears close to the dial or to the crystal?
That's correct.
That's correct. It's not oil filled with Type 1
Not
squared,
oil-filled.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the effect of the oil, and the case shape of the Type 1 squared is one that I'm drawn to. It's almost Panerai in shape.
Yeah, it's more like a cushion case, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
As I like probably my favorite is the Diver, which is more like a 46 mil. But my favorite is the Diver.
Wonderful watch.
Yeah, I love this. I love this Langer. Stunning.
The Langer is amazing.
Yeah.
I love the grey as well. It's not very often we see a grey type dial like this.
One day. maybe.
Yeah, one day maybe.
Did we want to look at any of the others, Thomas?
Yeah, could the Speedmaster 57 was
The
one of
Speedmaster
Ben's
57 coming up.
favourites.
Yep.
That's the ID to go with ID.
The ID guy
57.
special.
Yeah, the ID guy special.
It's the ID guy watch, isn't it now?
Yep.
What was it you liked about this one then, Ben?
The broad arrow hands, the metallic
Bezel. Yeah,
as opposed to it just.
I'm with you. Yeah,
I like the focus.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's a gorgeous watch.
yeah,
It is.
just incredible. I'd love to own the entire trilogy collection, to be honest with you.
Oh yes. Yeah.
But,
I like the Railmaster the best, to be honest with you. The Railmaster 57.
You don't get the
I
chrono in the trilogy collection, no.
Oh, really?
You do
Oh,
in the
ID
trilogy,
guy,
you get
you just pop back in at the perfect time. We're just talking about your watch.
Mocking it.
Hello.
You do get the speed trilogy collection. You get the Speedmaster
what, sorry?
57, the Realm watching the trilogy collection. You got the
Not the
Railmaster
chrono,
and the
though.
Speedmaster.
You get chrono in there?
You don't. Chronograph, you get the Speedmaster chronograph, you get the Railmaster and the Master.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
the box up.
pixelating a little there, Thomas. But
Oh,
yes,
sorry,
you get
you-
all you can get all three of the
I haven't opened the
trilogy.
box for ages, but I've got the trilogy collection. I didn't think you got the chronograph in there.
You obviously haven't looked at your collections for a while, James.
No, I haven't. Well, I think I got robbed of the actual box, to be honest with you.
7,200. Somebody was asking the price. Watch and Pray was asking, hey pal, good to see you. That is 7,250 is the price to that Speedmaster 57.
Okay, Ben, another just general Irish question. Is it possible to get tacos in Ireland?
Yes, of course.
I don't know.
You want really?
Yeah, the food scene in Dublin's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not fried Mars bars anymore.
Well, that's Scotland. That would be more Scotland than
Oh,
Ireland.
that's more Scotland, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, are they actually made by Latinos or just Irish people making the tacos?
You never know these
Whether
days.
to laugh or to...
No, I'm serious. I mean, there might be Latinos actually over there.
I'm sure there is. It's quite a cosmopolitan country, like many
I
other
think it's
countries in the
I think
Western
it's very
world.
cosmo like everywhere else, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do we want to hit up next?
Do you want to hit up the Zenith Defy? That's Ben's. Who's saying that's Ben's answer to? Who's saying that's his answer to an overseas or a Nautilus?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Yep. Wait a minute. Wasn't someone else? Never mind. Screw it.
But everybody's really into this watch at the moment, aren't they?
Mm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it very much.
It wouldn't be my first choice as a three-hander watch.
What
Well, I
would you go
mean,
for, James?
it's
I
different.
know.
It's different from a no date sub, James. It's different from a no
Yeah, I
date
know.
sub or a Laureato. I mean, it's
I'd
got
go
that
for
lot.
Laureato.
It's a bit like a Laureato. It's a bit like
You're comparing it to the wrong watch. You don't compare it to a Laureato. You compare it to a Datejust. If you compare it to a Datejust, then it kicks ass of all who comes before it.
it looks
Yeah,
a bit
that's
like
true.
a Laureato. It's got
Well,
it's got a
Little
bit of a Laureato look to it. Yeah.
But it's it's like a value added Datejust. You don't think of it as like an Royal Oak competitor.
That's not right, but for the money, I would rather have a Laureato.
That's fair.
Well, that's fair enough.
that's
That's
just-
your opinion. That's your opinion, James. That's
You
Yeah.
got this is a titanium watch.
This is just
and,
what Ben's choosing.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I've seen this. Everybody's. This is a very popular watch with a lot of people at the moment. I'm saying it's a very popular with a lot of people. A lot of people loving this watch.
Yeah, we know that you're a Jared Perigo fan, though, and you'd rather have a Laureato.
Well, and to be honest, it's just like, which one of Charlie's Angels would you rather go on a date with? I mean, there are technically no wrong answers here.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
true.
right.
There's
Absolutely
probably 3 or 4 good choices right now around this price range.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, in fairness, James, after listening to you on this podcast before, you've always stuck to your guns.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a GP fan. It's been a bit of bias there.
Yeah, you know, and they're similar, but there's enough distinction between these two.
I think the Laureato's upscale a little bit. Let's be honest.
I would agree. I would agree that the Laureato is a little.
But it doesn't mean that.
It's a little further upscale than this, but this is would be a great summertime watch.
I'm just surprised that this watch is getting so much attention at the moment. I mean, I've spoken to so many people who all love this watch, and it's sort of jumped out of left field, and it's getting a lot of love.
When did it do that? Because I think it came out like 2017 or something, 2018. And
yeah, but just in the last few weeks, a lot of people have given this watch a lot of love. And if you look at the show you guys did a couple of weeks ago, JCB's show, a few other streams I've watched, this watch is popping up a lot at the moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of, not that you don't get a lot of bang per buck with a Laureato, because the good deals can be had on them, and with the dial on that watch and just the whole concept of it is so good looking. But this watch, I think can be better bang per buck if you're buying it correctly, and you're willing to hold on to it and enjoy it and buy it for what it is. You're not this isn't a watch to be bought and then flipped. This is a watch that if you really love it,
these, wouldn't you?
You can get a discount on this. Absolutely.
Okay, so you're going to buy this watch well.
You have to buy this watch well. Correct.
Yeah, it's a good looking watch. I mean, there's no doubting that.
Yep.
No, however, there's a competitor, I think, this one with the same aesthetics has popped up recently. I'm talking about the Tissot PRX.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe to it.
Mm. They've even put a waffle AP dial in it now as well.
It's still a Tissot.
Still a Tissot.
He's so horny.
And it is that Tissot is only a quartz at the moment, although they will be dropping the Powermatic 80 into it eventually. But but right now it's just a quartz. But it does have similar vibes. You're absolutely right.
I could bring you 3 or 4 micro brands which are equally as good as that, which you get for under $1,000 as well. I mean, there's a lot of small independent brands which are bringing watches that good as well. So there's plenty of choices that look as good as that.
Sure.
We're spoiled for choice, really, if you go looking for it.
Yeah.
All
right. I think we covered everything. Am I correct, Thomas?
I think we've covered most things. Yeah, we've covered a lot of time as well, I think, haven't we? So
no, I think we have.
Let me just to remind everyone, if you could, Ben, if you could just put a comment in the chat, and we can post a link to your channel in the chat, and we can pin that.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
We can pin that for you.
Besides, posting something in the chat, once the video posts, put a comment in there, and I'll pin that and make sure that you know,
You've got
put
a link
the
to
link,
your channel.
a link to your channel in it. ID Guy Marathon Boys. Yeah, hardly compared to your Guinness Book of World Record live streams there, ID Guy. But thank you.
Time for a shot in another hour.
Yeah, all I can say is thank you to Ben. It's
Yes.
been great to see your collection. Lovely to hear about the Irish watch brands as well. That's really interesting to find out about those.
That was very interesting indeed.
Very interesting stuff, Ben. And please, everybody, give Ben's channel a look. Give it a thumbs up and a subscription. Thank you so much for joining us. Interesting collection. Love to hear your views about the hobby. We need to get more younger people like yourself involved in the hobby.
Absolutely.
It's
And
not just old guys like Thomas and I.
Yeah, and don't forget, everyone. For the have a think for next week's show to put in a comment. $15,000, and you've got one used piece to buy. It can be a vintage piece, it can be a current piece, but it's got to be a second-hand piece for $15,000. So have a think about
Thomas,
that.
what currency are we using?
Dollars, American dollars.
American.
We're not using euro.
15,000 American dollars.
Can't we use pounds? Seeing your English.
Well, the default currency of this channel is American dollars. But thank you to everybody that has joined us today. 73 MAF, 90 Knots, Dan T, Hands, Knees, and Toes, Alejandro, Brent, Underachieving Watch Collector, Watch and Pray. The list goes on and on. Forbin Colossus, Turkey Vulture.
You know,
thank you all so very much. We really appreciate
who you
it.
all are, everyone. We can't do it without you, and we do it for you.
And we an extra big special thank you to James Arthur. Thank you for joining us, James. We always appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. It was
great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, folks.
Yeah, and thank you, Ben.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Really enjoyed it. Sorry for talking so much.
No worries.
You probably need a coffee and a shot, Ben.
Lovely to hear your Irish lilt.
Yes.
He probably needs an Irish whiskey.
Yes, a good old Powers now might just do the
There you go.
That Jameson's, isn't it?
Jameson's, Powers, Paddy. It's all good.
Paddy, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. If you could leave us a thumbs up, guys, that'd be great. That'd be excellent. And spread the word about the channel and get some subscribers. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
No, you're welcome. And thank you to everybody again in the chat. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. GMT.
Absolutely.
For another edition of Watch Talk with the Punters.
We will do.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Later.